Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Midday Discourse on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining us on today's edition of the program. On today's edition, we'll be exploring governance, the governance system of Nigeria, and then we'll also be looking at the trajectory, basically, of Nigerians' governance since inception. That's basically since the year 1999. We're going to backtrack a little bit, go down memory lane. Though in the course of going down memory lane, we might, come in contact with a few things that are not though very memorable, but still to get our facts straight and have the right information passed out to the general public, we would need to go down memory lane to be able to get our facts straight. We'll be extracting the turn of events that lured former President Olusegun Obasanjo into governance, and a few things that happened during his tenure as a president from 1999 all through to 2027 and 2007 rather, and then also have a conversation around Yaradua, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, talk about the APC-led administration that started in the year 2015 from President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as also having conversations around the current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A few things have been said, some positively, some negatively, and the bottom line is a lot of questions have been asked by Nigerians and the general public and also political analysts in the fact that in the recent wake of events where we've seen local government election, happening in the states where it's been led by maybe probably the All Progressive Party or the PDP, and then it tends to witness that those states get swept off of the same ruling party. What that means is, what I'm trying to say is the fact that if you have a governor as a PDP or APC candidates during the just concluded local government elections that happen, we tend to witness that the party ruling tends to sweep all of the seats in the local government and mostly also in the councillorship. So Nigerians now are wondering what is really happening, what is happening with our electoral system, or is it that if there is any political power in place, ruling at the point, then the opposition does not have much things to bring to board that would make them win at least, if not all, but a few seats in the states. The fractioning and the numbers are actually looking so favorable for the current parties sitting in whichever state that the election was held just a few months ago. And then we'll also hammer on the just concluded election in Ondo, where the APC won all 18 local government for the governorship, where Lucky Adetuwa assumed as governor. So we'll also be having these conversations around where a few persons have argued that corruption started way from the military regime before it now worsened during the tenure of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Well, we'll also have conversations along those lines from the PDP, APC, which are basically the two major parties that have been ruling this country. So have conversations about what's going on within the Nigerian democratic system, have a conversation around the electoral system, have a convocation still around INEC. So we are going to be touching, most of these angles, and with the time we have, we would hope to be able to do justice to all of these major talking points. But before we dive in deep and start extracting these major angles of conversation, we'll be going on a quick break, and then when we return back, I'll be introducing my guest who would help us understand most of these major talking points. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining, this is Midday Discuss, and we're about to dive in right into the conversation. And I'm about to introduce my guest, Mr. Lanre Toluhi. Is a public affairs and also a political analyst as well as a strategist as well. Larry, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us from the diaspora.
Awesome. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Many thanks for many thanks for joining us. So now let's get right into the conversation. But before we get to just get our facts straight, we'll need to go down memory lane. Even though the lane might not be, too smooth, there might be bumps on the road, but just for us to, governance and democracy, we just have to go down memory lane. So let's get into it. Immediately after the military regime in 1999, then the assumption of power by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, people argued and are still arguing that that was the birth of corruption. Then that was when Nigerian democracy started suffering, back and forth and corruptions here and there. Do you agree with that statement that the led administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo bettered more corruption?
No, I beg to disagree with that. Actually, really beg to disagree with that because, when we, like you talked about, looking back on historical context of what is happening, I want to go a bit further. I want to start from 1960, then I'll answer your question. Because from 1960, when we became independent, and from the colonial rule, we adopted a parliamentary system of governance. Everyone knows that. And between 1966 to 1979, started decades of military intervention in politics. So the first coup happened in 1966. And all that were happening to 1979, where there was coup after coup, counter coup, and all that. That caused a lot of instability in our political or democratic setting. Then came in a breeze or a fresh breeze of relief in 1979 when Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, General Olusegun Obasanjo handed over power to Shehu Shagari in a democratically elected government, and which created the Second Republic, and we went through that. They had actually done their re-election before General Muhammad Buhari planned his December 31st, 1993 coup. And all that happened, 1993 came in, IBB wanted to hand it over to democratically elected governors, and there was an election on June 12th. You all remember June 12th, 93, which was dubbed the fairest and the fairest election ever happened. And we knew what happened, and there was a lot of war and tussle and everything. But 1999 came, boom, the Fourth Republic and what we're enjoying now. Though before 1999, Nigeria was on grand minus. So I want to answer your question. So when people talked about Obasanjo doing this, I laugh. Nigeria was on grand minus. I actually read the supposed response from Sunday Dari, who's an essay to the president, a former minister of sport, that was a minister under Buhari regime, and I laughed because he said all kind of thing about the president of Baba Olusegun Obasanjo, and I laughed because Nigeria was on grand minus. Then President Obasanjo and his vice, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the PDP government brought Nigeria to ground zero. We were minus. They brought us to ground zero. We got the Paris debt pardon. They brought in the telecommunication reform, which is the bane of Nigerian development. We can't deny that. That opened up the banking sector, opened up the energy sector, opened up all our sectors. We had to reform in the telecommunication because it gave us access to internet and all that. And it was awesome what these guys did. Now, this men gave us pardon. Nigeria became a nation, newly rebirthed. Now, what has happened since 2025, 2015 rather, we saw the reverse was the case. So anybody saying that or peddling all kind of things that they want to peddle and talk about how Nigeria, how Obasanjo regime beat corruption is a lie. It all started when Nigeria went for change. A change that nobody asked what kind of change it is, because change can be positive or negative. But people clamored for change without knowing the kind of change they wanted. Obasanjo is not a perfect man. His regime, his administration had a lot of issues, the third term and all that. Yes, we know. I know I wasn't expecting anybody to be perfect, but saying they did this or they did that or they beated corruption, I think no, we need to tell ourselves the truth. The sitting or the present administration needs to correct what they need to correct. They need to do what they need to do and stop playing the blame game and face governance.
Same during the tenure of former President Baba Olusegun Obasanjo that privatization started hitting Nigerians, and since then we've recognized, okay, let's just start with the power, NEPA, before it now turned to PHCN, and now we have several disco companies, and Nigerians have not been enjoying the benefit of doubt. Now lights have been segregated into bands, and Nigerians now, and this year alone, the national grid has like fallen up to 11 times, if I'm very correct. But Nigerians are still complaining that they've not been enjoying the dividends of that privatization and the current reoccurrence of National Grid 4. Was it going to be better if NEPA was still being NEPA, given the fact that it was run then by the federal government?
No. Nigeria needs to do away with this sentiment of holding to nationalize everything. Everywhere in the world, everybody has gone privatization. Look, in America, to their prison is privatized now, because when you run these facilities or when you run these sectors as private individual, you tend to want to make profit. We should hold who we need to hold accountable. That's what I'm saying. We just like to blame. And Nigerians need to understand that power is expensive. Yes, the truth is this present guy is here. They've shown over and over and over that they have no idea and they are not even willing to learn. It's a different thing that you don't have idea, but you're willing to learn. They have no idea and they are arrogant in their ignorance. So they're not learning, they don't want to learn. They've decided to be adamant in their ignorance, because that is why it is failing. The national grid keeps failing. It has failed more than 6 times this year, in a same society, in an administration that means well, in an administration that understands what good governance is. There's no need to leave that minister of power. Why is he not sacked? How has he not been fired? But they won't do that because they know how he got there and all the funny things he did to get there. So I know that is why they cannot fire him. But they need to change him. They need to put the right people in the right places. We all remember during Jonathan's regime, we had Professor Batinaji doing wonders with the power sector. And whatever thing we think we are having today in the power sector that makes it look a bit okay, was what Batinaji did. And we know how Nigerian politicians frustrated that man out. And these same guys are the ones saying they wanted power. They are the same ones that don't want anybody to come bring these good reforms. Nigerians can't keep holding on to these national assets when they are not working, and government will be pouring money into them and they are not bringing money. We need to let private individuals that are competent to run these things. I understand that people are not getting the dividends of this privatization, but it's not because of Obasanjo privatized. What Obasanjo regime did was to privatize, which was the best way to go. Now, what we need to do is own these entities that own these companies and ask them to deliver. Then, before we ask them to deliver, the government needs to give them a palatable working environment. You have to give them an environment that is valuable for business, an environment that business and investment can thrive. You see, the truth is, you'll be surprised that these guys running the power sector, they probably are looking for investors, but investors are not ready to come because we will not tackle insecurity, we will not tackle some basic things in Nigeria, and people are going to be skeptical to come in. So and the truth is, if Nigeria needs to grow, or if our democracy, our economy needs to grow, we need to get power right. So how do we get power right? The first thing we need to do is we need to ensure that insecurity is tackled, and at the same time we give conducive environment for foreign direct investment to come in. And when this foreign direct investment come in, we can channel them into power and bring in foreign companies to bring into this power, have a robust power plan. And it is never too late. What we need to do is have a holistic system, diagnostic, have an holistic system analysis to know what is wrong with this sector and be holistic in it and be truthful in it. Then you set up your SWOT analysis, you do and make sure that your goal is smart so that we can get all these things done, and we just move on so that the power sectors can be gotten. But I don't think it's because it was privatized. It's just because people are not doing what they need to do, and this administration are not putting the right people in the right places.
Okay, looking at those now, we can't just have this conversation about from 1990 and not talk about Nigeria's economic growth from that set time up to date. But we are going to have the conversation about what's happening currently. But before we get to that part, still on the memory lane, Nigerian economy was actually doing very well. And then, like you rightly pointed out, Nigeria, the former administration led by President Olusegun Obasanjo brought about foreign debt free. That means it was at zero when he was about leaving office. Now the story has changed. Then the trajectory has said that each president that comes into the office makes this statement of saying he inherited a bad economy. Do you think, as at 1999, Nigerian economy is far off better than what we are witnessing now? And what can be done to, remedy that situation at this dire point that Nigerian economy is?
I just told you. Don't forget that in 1999, because immediately General Sani Abacha took over power in November, exactly 31 years ago today. Literally today, funny enough, today is exactly 31 years ago today, November 19, 1993. Every part of the world sanctioned Nigeria. Nigeria was shut out of the world. They shut the door against us. So in 1999, our economy was not bad. I told you when I started in my opening remark that we were on zero. For the Obasanjo, Atiku, PDP-led governors, we were not complaining. Nigeria knew that the military was bad, and they elected and they craved for democracy. And they had democratically elected government. So what the government did, well, they started working. They hit the ground running. That was when we had the like of Okonjo that come back home. We had the like of MLTi. We had all of them. We had this Obiosikusili. We had these people. We had all our professionals come home to run things, to come run the affairs of the nation. We had lovely economic team. We have the Philip Asildo of this world all working for Nigeria because they needed to do that. They were not complaining. Nigerian economy in 1999 was not fantastic. It was in shambles. They just got the ground. They hit the ground running and they walked. They walked there. They worked themselves out. Look at these guys since 2015. They don't have idea. They were good in opposition. They were good in complaining. They were good in condemning. They were good in giving alternative ideas why they were acting of governance. Now they've been in governance since how many years now? 9 years, going to 10 years. And they are still complaining and whining and blaming and talking. And Buhari complained for 8 years how bad the governance was. Now another APC government came and they are complaining about Buhari's government. They're not the same APC. Do they have the same party manifesto? It just shows how unserious, how unprepared, how inept these guys are. They need to stop complaining. We understand that the economy is tough. We understand that, yes, they might have made some things that are not too palatable on ground. Yes, accepted, acknowledged. But complaining will not solve them. What they need to do is hit the ground running and start working on how to provide solution and not complain. Complaints don't bring solutions. Provide solution, bring idea, engage who you need to engage, bring in stakeholders that understand what they are doing, engage the right people, and stop appointing people because of political affiliation, because of tribal sentiment or religious sentiment. Put the round peg in the right hole and the square peg in the square hole. Put the right people at the helm of affairs, and they need to stop this appointment racketeering and all that. They need to put the right people in the right places, get the right people on board. Look, they should not say, look, somebody is criticizing or some group are criticizing them. If such groups understand what they need to do in each sector, they should approach them and give them stuff to do. I remember growing up that Wally Soyinka and co were always very, very anti-military rule, and they were talking about the unsafe Nigerian road. When the Nigerian Road Safety Corps was instituted, we know we had the Thai Solarins and the Wally Soyinka them to warn it then. We all remember then. That is what we are saying. Bring these guys down. That criticizing your stuff, that criticizing what is happening. Here, People's Bank was Thai Solarin, yes. The road safety was Wally Soyinka. You see, that is even military understand that you need to engage people. Now, but these guys are not engaging. They don't want to engage. Everybody wants to give them an idea or critique what they are doing. They bring an episode to insult you and call you a kind of name, and that is why they are failing. We understand they should stop complaining. They should hit the ground running and start working.
Those angles now, well, still on memory lane and things that need to be done. But before we go on a quick break, let's just have this quick conversation. So as we'll start talking about what's actually happening in these current times. You know, in the year 1956, that was when oil was first discovered, and way before then, Nigeria has been more focused in agricultural development and infrastructure, and Nigeria was actually was on the verge and doing so well economically with just agriculture, then until the discovery of oil in the year 1956. So now looking at those now, since Nigerians started like deviating away from what they are known for, which is agriculture, and then started focusing more on oil, do you think that the discovery of oil actually took Nigerians' eye out of the ball, you know, from the ball? That's why we're facing this dire economic challenge, because of too much dependence on oil.
Yes and no, because so much dependent on oil has been a big problem for us. But it is, 1956 when oil was discovered in Ulupobiri in Bayelsa. It was meant to be a thing of joy and everybody were happy and all that. But you see, there are a lot of people that have oil and at the same time they maintain other things they have. America has oil and America has agriculture, and America is in both, and they are doing a lot of things. Now, it just shows it is not the discovery of oil, it is the intellectual laziness and is the greed of our people and the selfish nature of our people and not wanting to do what they need to do. But predominantly, why Nigeria is not progressing and not doing the right path is because our leaders, our political policy and every other leaders that we might think of are intellectually lazy. They've decided not to improve on themselves and they've decided to be short-sighted. They are not visionary. They cannot see far. They can't. They're not to be long-term planner. They are short. They're not even mid-term planner. They are short-term planner. They just want, and they are greedy. They want the me, my family, and I. And they are not thinking of what me, myself, and I. They are not thinking of what will benefit the entire populace and how things will go. So that is it. Yes, oil you can see, but I don't think it's the oil discovery. It is the laziness. It is the ineptitude of our people that brought us this low.
We'll be going on a very quick break, and then when we return back, Midday Discourse continues as we tend to dive into what's the current happenings with Nigerian governance. And a lot of persons are asking questions in line with the fact whether Nigerians are enjoying democracy or dictatorships. Just stay tuned as we find out if Nigerians are actually enjoying democracy. Please do stay with us. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now, let's have conversation around just the recent concluded elections that happened, local government off-cycle elections, basically local government elections, as well as the election that happened in Edo and Ondo, respectively. So we will be having those conversations in line with governance, and also would also make mentions around the recent appointments by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Lanre, thank you for still staying with us, and let's get right into it. So, looking at the off-cycle elections, let's start from the local government before we get to what happened in Edo and Ondo State, respectively. We witnessed during the election process, like most states where we have a particular party, let's say, for example, maybe Labour or APC or the PDP, having a state, for example, having a PDP-led government, tend to witness the PDP sweeping all seats in the local government election. It happened recently in Bauchi State, and also the councillorship. And then we witness in the states where APC is ruling, we witness APC sweeping all of those seats, respectively. So I want to ask, is it that Nigerians don't not, are voting for those people in power, or there is actually, something else that is going on under the curtain that the general public don't know about?
Sam, I think sometimes ago, some months ago, and I were discussing this when we talked about the autonomy, the local government autonomy, and I made my opinion when I said it is a wrong thing. Supreme Court giving the autonomy, we've just gone about that in a wrong way. That is what is happening, because the autonomy is a facade. It's fake. Because what is autonomous about local government when the governor determines who becomes the local government chairman or chairperson and who becomes councillor or not? In every state in Nigeria, the party the state government belongs to will sweep every local council chairmanship and every councillorship, because the local government, the local government persons are being handpicked by these governors and whoever they are picking in their party. They don't even do primaries. What they do is all the charade and all that. They don't do primaries. Whoever they choose become. And you see, most governors don't even want somebody that is educated to be this person. They want somebody they can impose their own idea on, somebody they can control, somebody they can tell sit and the person sits. Now, this same state governors will be the one to appoint the state electoral council members, and all the electoral council members are all card carrying member of the party which the governor belongs to. So what you do is not really election. You just okay, let's fulfill all righteousness, let's fulfill the law. Just have something we call an election. I'll just do that. They do all the drama, they do all the stage managed drama, they do all that, and everybody goes home and they announce who become the chairman and we become the councillors. That is what is happening. Now, it is the problem of the governors, but at the same time, the problem of oppositions. Because, for any good democracy to strive, the opposition must be up and running and up and doing. At every level, opposition in Nigeria are failing. You see governors who come out and appoint that card-carrying member of his party as member of the state electoral council. Nobody's going to say anything. Nobody's going to talk. Every opposition party members will sit down. They'll be looking. Then on the eve of election, they will be crying foul and they'll be doing that. Even at the national level, we saw that happen. We've seen that presently, President Bola Tinubu, the man himself, we've seen him appoint a lot of APC card-carrying members as INEC national, what they call them, commissioners. PDP is not talking now. Labour is not talking. APTA is not talking. What is not talking? Zenith Labour, all of them are not talking. By 2027 or 2026, 2027, they will all be crying. 2027 January, they'll be crying and telling you, why is that person there? Nobody's talking now. The opposition, they are funny, do what they like. They don't even know what opposition is. At the same time, so those are the aims of fear. Do what they look like. In Nigeria, we think we are in democracy, but I think we are more in a tyrannical. It's funny in democracy, but I don't think we actually practice what is called democracy. So that is what is happening in those states. Everybody is just doing. Well, are the people who vote counting? The answer is no. In some places, we don't even see. They don't even go there with ballot buses in these states, and they will announce results. They'll tell you go to court, and the judiciary too is not helping matter. They tell you go to court, and judiciary will speak all kind of drama, lengthy talk, and there's nothing they are going to say. And at the end of the day, somebody in democracy will tell you, for some of them that want to claim to be smart, they will tell you, we are knocking this out on technicalities. And you now look at yourself, so you know it is wrong, but you are knocking out on technicalities. So you look at it from every arms of government in Nigeria, the people are just in the mercy of God and posterity. Nothing is happening for them. The political class has failed Nigeria, and that it does it.
Saturday in Ondo State, and we saw a whole lot, and the international observers have said for both the election that happened in Edo and Ondo, both were actually very free and fair. But do you really, agree with those international observers with their reports?
Free and fair is relative. Free and fair is relative because some of them will tell you, okay, we're the chaos, we're the killing, we're the violence, we're all that. I don't think there was any, at least, there might be pocket, but it's not as what we used to know. Or maybe that was what they mean by free and fair, because I followed Edo election and I laughed. Because if anybody's action that in Edo election, free and fair, when we saw that the mandate of the people were totally on, and it was glaring that we saw INEC did what they did in Edo. So anybody actually has free and fair, like I said, is relative. And I followed Ondo partially, and I saw how all parties were buying vote. Every party, it's not exclusive to one party. Our international community, this sector has said free and fair. Like I said, free and fair is relative. Maybe what they mean by that. We might need to know what free and fair mean, because in a free and fair election, there is no vote buying, there is no ballot slashing, there's nothing like that. Although we saw a lot of ballot slashing, we saw all that happen. And somebody saying free and fair, like it is, we may need to ask them what is their own definition of free and fair.
Okay. We need to find out that from the international observers. But do you think we can ever have an election like that we witnessed on June 12th, 1993, when it was recorded and is still being celebrated till date that was one of the freest and the fairest election that was held in Nigeria?
Look, I've had to discuss with people on June 12th, 1993 election. What do we mean by fair and fair? We some of us might need to analyze that, we might need to check. But if it is fairest, that's what the Nigerians say, that is the fairest and the fairest. So let's use that as a standard. If you're using that as a standard, it was conducted by Nigerians for Nigerians. So it is not impossible, but there must be a determination from the electoral umpires to do what is right. Nowadays, we see INEC will do all kind of thing, and INEC will be the first to even advise aggrieved persons to go to court. And INEC will go to court to defend people that have been prosecuted that they've done wrong. We are yet to see INEC sanction any of its staff. And we are yet to see INEC to take stand. Look, the lack of Professor Yakub, it's pathetic that people like that were professors, and we have professors as electoral officers in state and places in Nigeria. And these are the same professors that will tell the students, they will rusticate students, they will suspend students for cheating in exam hall. And you see these professors do some funny things during elections, and you ask yourself, where is the equity and where is the justice? It is a big slap on the academics in Nigeria that we are seeing them come out and do all these things they do in electoral processes. And just tell yourself, Lord, there's a lot of problem and there's a lot of issue we might need to actually tell ourselves. If we want to have a fair and a good election like 1993 standard or even better, we will need to holistically go digital. And we need to have to digitalize. Having these too many of manual processes gives room for cheating, gives room for irregularity. We need to go digital, we need to publish it, and we need to give access to people to see it live, with time and on time, not all these excuses we are giving. Because we saw it happen and we saw the accident speaking all kind of things. We need to really do what is right and do it in the right way.
Let's move away from the just concluded election, and Nigerians need to hold INEC responsible, but most of the times going to court and the judicial system, like you rightly mentioned, still has much work to do in terms of passing judgment. But with the current Attorney General setting, we are hopeful that things would get better in that light. But let's talk about the current appointment by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Daniel Bawale, who was very, very outspoken before the 2023 election against, supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What's your reaction to him being appointed as a public spokesperson to the president?
Barrister Daniel Bawala is, the problem is someone like that, Barrister Daniel Bawala, I think it's PhD now, is that he thinks he's too intelligent for himself, and that's been but before 2023, before February or before January 2023, he was a strong, 2022, I think around 2022, he left APC. He was a strong member of the APC. No doubt. And he was a natural person. So he was just angry for some reasons, and he said, okay, He was angry, he was not ready. Coming from a Christian part of Borno State, he felt there should be somebody from the Northeast, and it should have been a Christian from the Northeast. That was one of the things he said was his problem, and that was why he left and he went to PDP, and he became a spokesperson for the Atiku campaign team. But it's good for the PDP and Atiku and his team too, because I know there were a lot of people that have done good jobs for them that they didn't reward. They rewarded Daniel Boala because he was coming and all that. And he just probably went back home. But at the same time, the lesson for anyone is when you're fighting, don't talk too much. When you're fighting, when you're angry, don't talk too much, because at times you shoot yourself, because he has said a lot of things. President Daniel Boala said a lot of things, a lot of crazy things, a lot of tough things against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now he's a spokesperson for that same President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. I know he's already saying some things now again. He's an intelligent man, know that, but I know he's going to find his way out, sell all those kind of things. But the lesson is we should talk less, especially when we are angry, and even if you are in opposition, if you are opposing one another or each other, rather one another, as the case might be, we should mind what we say and be careful what we say, so that, because the table might turn tomorrow. For me, I don't have issue with it. It's a democratic setting, and it is fundamental human right, which is freedom of association. So he can associate with who he wants to associate with, and he can live to where he wants to live. He has the freedom. That tells it.
Rightly mentioned. So all of those things actually plays right in politics, switching camps to, to the path where you tend to, feel more appreciated, I would say. But what would you say now is like the major impacts that this current administration have had, maybe positively and negatively, or what can be done for Nigerians to, enjoy these dividends of democracy and looking forward, and as we tend to wrap up?
Yeah, I know this administration, I don't know. I know they're trying to do some reforms. See, the truth is their reforms are good reforms. It's just that the execution, like I've told you several times here, and I tell you, these reforms are good reforms. But the model or the model of operation, or the manner at which this reform are being rolled out, there are a lot of things you don't do. You do things sequentially. They just want to do everything simultaneously, and everything is chaotic. They're not having deep thoughts. They're not having deep thinking. They're just doing them because they want to be, they're trying to dance to the gallery. They're just trying to impress, and it's putting them in a lot of trouble, and it's boxing themselves in the tight corner. Minus that, I just think they need to learn how to think through. But they don't think through most of their processes. Yes, at the end of the day, some of those processes are good, but they don't think through. And they look at things in a myopic manner. They need to start looking at things in diverse way, and not just look at things in one angle. Look at it in a broad spectrum and understand, do deep analysis, and they need to engage more. You see, the truth is there's nothing wrong with them in looking for people or identifying people, because it's part of being leaders. They need to start understanding how to identify people, and when they identify these people, engage these people productively, and stop shutting people up, and they should stop looking at every criticism as bad light, or somebody's trying to gaslight them. Nobody's gaslighting them. Criticism is good for them. That shows them what they need to do, what they are not doing well. And if they identify someone, now they've identified Daniel Boala as a good orator, an articulate communicator, a good media strategist, and they've gone for him. They need to engage other people to, not minding what those people or the place the people are. Those people don't need to belong to their party. Those who don't even need to belong to any party. Engage them, because at the end of the day, we are not in the era of politics now. Politicking is before election, where you want to get elected. Now it is time for governance. There are time for politics and there are time for governance. Now there's time for governance. And now they need to deliver the dividend of democracy. So they should engage who they need to engage to deliver good governance to the people.
governance and, politicking. Looking at those angles now, right? Let's just, as we wrap up, I think we have less than 5 minutes to end today's edition. But look at it now. Switching alliances and switching parties, does it mean that if, for instance, as a political analyst that you are, if a president from the APC or Labour or PDP is seated and then sees potential in an opposition party member who can help with his alliance and politics, doesn't it allow, since we're talking governance now, isn't it best for all to just come together and work hand in hand, given the fact that this Daniel Bawali deviated to the PDP and now came back to the APC so as just to get this appointment? Can't he be still in PDP and then help with the president's agenda?
Like I said, in 1999, late Bonaige, the founding member of AD, the ranking member of AD, worked as a ranking member of cabinet in President Obasanjo's regime, reign rather, where he was Minister of Power before he became Minister of Justice. So that's what we are saying. I understand for Daniel. I get people have an issue with the like of Daniel Bwala because the way he moves and the things he's saying. There's nothing wrong for me. I don't think there's anything wrong if they identify somebody in an opposition. What is wrong is if they are trying to force that person to decamp. Because you don't need to decamp. You don't need to leave to switch allegiance. And that other person that is being identified need to just get clearance, get every necessary clearance from his or her party so that they can go work. Because at the end of the day, party A, party B to party D or party Z, they want promising Nigerians there for Nigerians and they want to deliver. How they deliver it does not matter. All that matters is are you delivering it and are you delivering for the good of the people. So if somebody in party A, if party is in power and they find somebody in party G and the person in party G can deliver and they identify such person and they approach such person, all they need to do is they as party A should just write to party G, requesting for that person party G. And party G should inform his party, person in party G should inform his or her party to say, look, party A has identified and I want to work with them for the good of the people, for the good of Nigerians, and everything will be okay. I don't think there's anything wrong in it.
This is how much time will actually permit us to take on today's edition. Lanre, Toluhi, thank you so very much for joining us on today's edition of Midday Discourse. Lanre is a strategist, a public affairs analyst, and as well as a political analyst. Thank you for joining us on today's edition of the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much all for tuning in on today's edition of Midday Discuss. I'll see you again tomorrow as we discuss other angles of multiple conversations that might be arising. My name is Samuel Odi. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.